Okay, so my next question is, in terms of chemo, that's that's focusing on the cancer, that's going every week to have chemo, having a lot of physical challenges along the way. Would I, if I was going to take what you said to the previous gentleman about his friend, right, I would drop the chemo, and I would work on my vibration, and I would relax, and I would chill.
Well, here's the thing. As Esther was making her way to that hotel, it was helpful for her to know what they were dealing with. And it was helpful for her to make the best plans that she could make along the way. In other words, the idea that everyone could get into the room felt better to Esther than the idea of people, there not being room for some. In other words, so what we're saying to you is, the path is unfolding for you in the way that's easiest for you to accept it. And we will say this in a very powerful way. Just because you're doing the medical approach with the chemo does not mean that you cannot at the same time do the energy approach. In other words, one does not take the other one away. Okay. One is not a path that says, well, I clearly don't believe in that, or I wouldn't be doing that. You're going to do everything that you can think of to put you in a place of expecting the outcome that you want. Just do everything that you can think of. There is not a downside to that, you see. And given what you feel about it, we think that that's a path of least resistance. Just don't let it be the only path. Do the energy moving thing. Let's do some of it here. Do you have time? Of course I do. We don't care. We don't care if you do or not. So let's just visit about this. So of course it's easy to talk about it out there in that wobble place. Everybody wobbles on that subject. That cancer word makes everybody wobble just at the idea of that cancer word. In other words, because it feels like it's something that just sneaks up on you and you have no control about it. And of course none of that is true. And it doesn't matter how far down the road you are in anything, you can always slow the momentum and get a different momentum going. That is always true. That is always true. That is always true. So let's stay out of that for just a little bit, and let's start at this basis. Does that make sense to you? Does it make sense to you conceptually that at the heart of every big wobble there is something that is wobbling less? In other words, if you could sort of go back. And do you follow with the idea that the more specific you are, the greater the momentum? So if you're specific on what you want and therefore specific on what you don't want, that the wobble is greater in the specifics than it is in the general? Does that make sense to you? It's absolute. So there's less wobble in the emotion than there is in the figuring out all of that. So that's why the chemo's out there in that wobble zone. Let it be wherever it is, but let's talk about the energy of this.
Okay.
So tell us the emotion that just a word or two, use an emotional word to describe what you think your point of attraction is. And emotionally, what are you feeling mostly around this? Are you feeling confident? Are you feeling fear? Are you feeling angry? Are you feeling overwhelmed? What word best describes what you feel?
All of those come into play.
We don't want a long conversation from you.
Yeah, no. Well, I feel confident.
We don't want a long conversation
confident.
from you. Then we're done. Then we're done. Then we're done. No. Then we're done. If that is true, then we are done. Is it true?
Sometimes.
So let's make it true more of the time. Let's get that confident, that confident. So now confident, when you think of a word like confident, we're just asking all of you because you're finding your way through this in a really strong way. So here's the action, which in this case is the chemo. And here's unconditional love. Where's confident fit in there? It's sort of up here somewhere, isn't it? Because it's confident. Confidence really tied to action. It's tied to. So you're actually telling us that you're confident about things that you're not confident about. So when you say you're confident, are you talking about the procedure? Are you talking about you're confident that you've got the energy thing under control? What's your confidence about?
the outcome.
So, really, that's a wonderful thing. If you're confident about the outcome, then we're surprised you raised your hand at all. Because when you're confident, you're in alignment. In other words, when you're sure about something, there's no wobble. And when there's no wobble, that's the place that you want to be. So,
well, there's definitely a wobble, so I'm not as confident as I want to be.
Yeah, and that's logical, isn't it? So that's what the work is to acknowledge where you are. Now, did you notice how confident she was in saying that she was confident, even though she's not really that confident? That's what we're talking about lip service. That's what we're talking about affirmations, offering words that you do not mean. Because the universe does not hear what you say. The universe hears what you mean. And so you got to practice it in the way that you mean it. You got to practice it until you mean it, and you're not going to get it all at once. You just got to keep practicing it until you mean it. But here's the thing: we don't know anybody who could think about the subject of cancer or chemo and be in that place. You just can't do that. And so our question to you is there any other time in your day that you think about anything other than that? And usually with someone who has something that's pressing on them like this, it sort of monopolizes your thoughts. It's like all you're thinking about. When you don't mean to be thinking about it, you're thinking about it because there's a bunch of momentum going. Mm-hmm. So you have to sort of set a new determination that you're just going to find some distraction from that. That's the key to that. Some distraction where you can feel this unconditional feeling of well-being. You have to find a way of not pitting everything that you're living against this diagnosis. It's such an interesting thing. Mm-hmm. Oh, we love you all so much. You are eternal, 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 forever, everlasting beings. And yet you take this eternalness that is you, and you hold yourself against this deadline. Oh, that's a good word for it, isn't this? Deadline. You hold yourself against this deadline, and then you feel all of your mortality, and then you just junk up your vibration so much as you worry about what you didn't get done or what you mean to do, and we just say blah, 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 blah. Yeah. Just make it all so complicated. It does not need to be. You could be in this moment where Source is flowing to you and through you. And if you could let that moment just be the moment that it is, and not mess it up with trying to explain so much to yourself or to anybody else. Just be where you are. And so feel with us just for a little bit the feeling of fear. Just for a second. And now feel what it feels like to be in a place of just lighthearted well-being. Lighthearted well-being. Any of you get there easily? Lighthearted well-being. Esther's watching the hawks flying up overhead, and it's like they're sort of dancing as they're flying, and she's thinking, what are you guys even thinking about? And then she thinks you're probably not even thinking about anything, because it doesn't look like it's lunchtime. It doesn't look like anything like that. I think you're just flying for the delight of flight. It just looks playful. It looks just like you're just enjoying that the butterfly flutters by. Here comes the flutterby, butterflying, fluttering by. Flutter by, butterfly, flutter by. Here it is, the butterfly flutter by. Nothing serious going on here, just a moment in time, just a perfect moment in nature. Just perfect moment in nature. So much perfection in nature. The earth is just spinning in its orbit, and the moon's in the sky every night, and the sun's in the sky every day, and the well-being is just dominant. Now we're getting a little bit more specific, but just something. You just have to work your way into some just gentle, simple, general feelings of well-being. It can be something that you're interested in. It could be something that's a little bit funny. It could be something that feels fascinating to you. It could be something that feels loving. But you've just got to stop making everything about that. Because that doesn't mean diddly squat. That's just a vibrational realization that doesn't have to continue. In other words, it's like you're walking down the path and you're spewing this inky, misty stuff, and then you keep saying, everywhere I go, there's inky, misty stuff. And we say, well, stop spewing it. If you stop spewing it, pretty soon you'll walk through it and there won't be any more of it, you see. You can walk right out into the clearing. And never in your entire life have you been in a better position to do that. You all think about all kinds of stuff that doesn't matter because you've got enough stability to do it. And we're suggesting, why not get solid on your trail just to get solid on your trail? It's all right if you wait until you need to stabilize to do it, but if we were standing in your physical shoes, we'd be doing it all the time. In other words, we wouldn't be mad at anybody for a minute because it's not worth it. Not because it'll kill them, not because it'll kill you, but because it's miserable in comparison with the love that you could be feeling right here and now. In other words, there are better choices. You haven't been making the best choices that you could make. And now you're in a position where you really want to make the best vibrational choices that you can make.
Yeah.
You're going to show yourself, this is an energetic thing. You're helping us to say in a really powerful way, oh yeah, there's a what is that has been realized, created and realized. This isn't something that somebody else has done to you. It's not even something that you're doing to you. It's a realization. It's the way you are translating who you are right now. It's a realization. It's a realization. Oh, let's go here for a minute. This will really help you. It's like we say you create your own reality, and you've been so patient with us over so much time as we tell you about law of attraction, then we talk about upstream, downstream, and then we tell you that there's a vortex, and then this vortex is everything that you want. We say get in the vortex, and we say everything you want's in the vortex, and you say, Abraham, all right already. My money's in the vortex. I want to get it out of the vortex and into the bank. My lover's in the vortex. I want my lover out of the vortex and into my bed. I want the stuff that's in the vortex to come to where I am. And so you've been listening to us for a while, and then these days we're saying to you, so there's this vibrational reality that you can't see yet or hear or smell or taste or touch, but you can feel it. That's what your emotions are helping you get in touch with. And then we say, and we really mean it, so we want you to realize that your work now, with all that you know, is to create a vibrational atmosphere where what's in your vortex is a vibrational reality can flow into your life experience and be realized by you. Turning thoughts to things. How do you do that? How do you get the stuff that's vibrational into your experience? Well, you're doing it all day, every day. You just don't know you're doing it. You're doing it by your attention to it, and you're doing it by being willing to hold the emotions that you're holding. You following us? Turning thoughts to things. This is where we want you to focus. Turning the thoughts to things. So what possible difference could it make if, without knowing it, you were turning some thoughts to some things that you don't want? No big deal. You turned those thoughts to the things that you do not want. You can turn other thoughts to things that you do want, because there is a vibrational reality that is right now. So Esther had this epiphany the other day. Yeah, there is this what is that equals the stuff that we're dealing with in any moment in time. That is what is. The doctors, what they're saying, and da-da-da-da-da-da-da. That is what is. But there is a vibrational, energetic what is. There's an energetic what is that, as our friend said to us earlier, first person we talked to today knows the energetic vibration is everything. That really is what is. So we're giving you the best sales job that we've ever given anybody on letting what is not matter and focus on what is. What is. That confidence, that feeling of confidence, that's an indication of what is energetically. And that trumps everything. That trumps everything, you say. That's how you all got here. Don't you think that's pretty amazing? You notice you're not trucking in stuff from other planets. You just keep becoming and evolving. How do you think you're turning these thoughts, the thoughts of source, the thoughts of creator? How is all of this turned to all of these things and all of these beings and all of this life, all of this living, all of this tangible? See it, hear it, smell it, taste it, touch it. Oh, if we can get you to feel that creative process, then you will never have fear again ever in your life about any what is, because you will understand unequivocally the temporary nature of what is and the important nature of what vibrationally is. What vibrationally is, what energetically is, you say. Really good.
Thank you.